Hello learners, welcome to our session today. I am your instructor CPA Ringo Frederick. Today, by the way, those who are doing ATD, I know you're very happy. For those who attended Mdarasa classes, because your results have been released, and majority of you, if not all, you're smiling wherever you are, right? Your results for December 2022 exams have been released. In our class today, my good students, we are looking at management accounting. And the concept under management accounting that I want us to handle today is a concept to do with forecasting, or many a times you can refer to it as accounts analysis, right? Accounts analysis, that is not accounts analysis, but estimation, cost estimation, right? Cost estimation. And on this case, the whole concept that I want us to look at is regression analysis. And today, Mwalimu is going to teach us a trick of using a calculator. Work out regression analysis within 8 minutes, a maximum of 10 minutes. You'll have solved the whole question of regression analysis using your calculator. So before we proceed, the first thing that must always tend to come at the back of our mind is for us to always recall this cost estimation equation, which is usually in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. Always, you must always remember this equation, where y stands for total cost, a fixed cost, b variable cost per unit, x number of units. In other words, you can also term a as dependent variable, a as constant, b as basically constant, and x as independent variable. So these are how we can interpret this equation of ours. So in our question, I'm going to share it with us here. This question was tested this is a KASNEB Accounting Technician Diploma 2. The good thing with management accounting is universal. Regardless of which course you're doing, management accounting is just management accounting. That's the beauty part with some of these courses, some of these units, right? So let's check out this question, see what you are required to do. I'm going to share this question with us here. And this is our question here. Let's go through it together and see what you're required to do, and we solve it. You'll find that using our calc, we can solve it within not more than 10 minutes actually, if at all you are to use your calculator. But because Mwalimu is guiding us, of course, it will depend on the number of times that you're going to work it out quickly. So here is a question. Here is a question, my good students. What are we told? We are told that I'm having Ocean Limited is preparing its budget for the year ending 30th June 2023. It is decided to estimate an equation or the form of y is equal to a plus bx, what exactly Mwalimu has given us here, where y is a total maintenance expense at an activity level x, whereas a is a fixed maintenance expense. We are told that the following information relate to the year ending 30th June 2023, where in this case I'm given the details below, where we are having the months from September to June. Required, the good examiner wanted us to prepare to estimate the total cost function using the ordinary least square method, that is regression analysis, 8 marks. Determine total cost if 1050 machine hours were applied. My good students, the good thing is that you can get this question just below this video, either on the comment section or description. You'll find that I'll have attached the link to this question. So let us start working it out. The first thing always that you'll always be required to do is for you to determine the values of x and the values of y. The values of x, many a times, they will be non-monetary, whereas the value of y, many a times, they will be monetary. Like non-monetary, you can talk of machine hours. We can talk of labor hours. We can talk of anything that is non-monetary, right? You can talk of kgs. You can talk of grams. Whereas for values of y, it will always be in a monetary value. So in our case, clearly, we can identify and see that machine hours, basically, that is non-monetary, so that will be our x, and maintenance cost will be our y, and the good examiner had given us there. So in this case, I'll be having this data of hours, number of period, I'm having months, which in this case I'm having September 22, we're having October 22, We're having November 22. We're having December 22. I'm having January 23. We're having February 23. We're having March 23. We're having April 23. We're having May 23. And you're having June 23. So basically this is what you're given. We start with the values of machine hours, which we've already said that this will be what? This will be our X. Machine hours, I'm having 400 to 40. We're having 80. We're having 400. We're having 320. We're having 240. We're having 160. We're having 480. We're having 320. And we're having 160. Values of Y, which ideally we've agreed that is maintenance cost. I'm having 960 here. My good students, you're having 880. We are having 280. We are having 1200. We are having 800 here. We are having 240. We are having, that is 800. I'm having 640. Sorry. We're having 560. We're having 1350. We're having 660. And you're having 440. That is the data that you are given, right? That is the data that you are given. I can squeeze this question of hours. I can squeeze this question of hours so that at least you have this data of hours clearly. Allow me to squeeze this question. So I'm going to squeeze this question of hours to that point I believe is visible, right? So having our data here, I know the other procedure that you normally tend to use using regression, using the other method is for you to determine xy, you come and determine x squared, right? This is what you used to do. But today Mwalimu is going to show us a shortcut. So long as you remember the formula, whereby we know very well that in our equation, and we require to determine b. And to determine b, you know, I should be having the number of data values times summation of xy. I'm going to less summation of x times summation of y. Then you're going to divide all this by the number of data values times summation of x squared. I'm going to deduct, my good students, summation of x, then you do what? Then we square. Right? So once we have this, if at all you're to use a calculator shortcut, and you know the value of, to determine b as well, where b, we know very well that will be required to determine b by taking summation of y. We less b summation of x, then we divide by the number of data values. And to show you guys shortcut using calculator. So to use your calculator, once you have all your data values and you want to determine your cost estimation equation, what you need to do is to come and have these variables of ours, n, summation of xy, we have summation of x, we have summation of y, we have summation of x squared, and we have summation of x, then we do what? Then you square. So just make sure that you've shown your examiner the values there. And of course, at this point, I'll be having my A and I'll be having my B. So once you have shown your examiner your values there, this will be very easy. So using your calc, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do using your calculator. This is what you're supposed to do using your calculator, my good students. This is what you're having here. So guys, this is how you can solve a regression analysis using your calculator. So the first procedure that we need to do is to make sure that we have cleared our calculator. Many times, if you can look at on the menu here, we'll be having, at this point I'm having D, right? I'm having D. Many times you'll find that we'll be having several digits on top of our calculator there. So to clear our calc, just to be on a safer side, what you need to do, you just do shift, then mode, okay? Then it's showing us to click 3. So I'll click 3, then I do equal sign twice. So you click equal sign twice. In that case, it will clear your calculator. So we are solving regression analysis. The data that you are saving, we have it on the board there, and we're also having it here, which is appearing on our screen, I believe. So the first thing that we said you ought to have determined are the values of x and the values of y. So in our case, we have the values of x to be machine hours and the values of y to be maintenance cost. So we want to solve regression analysis without using a lot of hassle. So what you need to do, you go to your calc. Mine, I'm using FX991MS. So we click mode. Any other calc, you click mode. And click mode to the point whereby you'll see regression. So on my case, I'll click mode again. At this point, I'm seeing digit 1 is showing us we are having standard deviation. Digit 2 is showing us regression. That is REG. You see this one, REG. I'm interested with regression. So that is to say I'm going to click number 2, digit number 2. You see, digit number 2. Then it's telling us we need to do what? To solve various concepts of regression, which we are having linear, logarithm, exponential. I'm interested with linear regression, so I'm going to click 1. After I've done 1, what you realize is that I'm going to have regression appearing here. You see, I'm going to have regression appearing on my screen there. Once it has appeared on our screen, we start by inserting the values of x. The values of x followed by the values of y. In our case here, the first values of x, check, that is September 2022. September 2022, I'm having the first value of x, which is 400. So I'm going to have my 400. Then I do comma. Comma is basically just above delete this comma. You see this one? You do that one. Then the value corresponding to that value of x is 960. You can clearly see I'm having September 2022. We have 400 and 960. So I'll do 960 here. Then I do m plus. Where is our m plus? My m plus is this one. So I do m plus. You'll kind of see that I'm having my n is equal to 1. The value of n 1. I proceed to the next value, which is 240. I do comma, followed by 880. I do m plus, followed by 80, comma, 280. I do m plus. In that case, I'll be having 400, comma, I do 1200, m plus. I'm having January. January we're having 420, comma, 800. I do m plus. You must be very keen so that you should not mix up your data. Followed by the other value is for Feb. I'm having Feb, which is 240, comma, 640, m plus. March, I'm having 160, comma, 160, comma, 560. Then I do m plus. Followed by April 2023, I'm having 480, comma, 1350. I do m plus. Then I'm having 320, comma, 660. I do m plus. Then June 2023, I'm having 160, comma, 440, m plus. So it will give us our data values to be 10. It will give us our data value to be 10. So once we have that case, I want to determine our values of regression parameters which at this point I want to determine summation of x. So how will we do summation of x? This is a procedure that you should be very, very tentative, my good students. At this point, what you need to do, you need to click shift, okay? You do shift. Then, in this case, I need summation of x, so I'll click 1. You see this one, S sum, I do 1. You'll find that I'll be having my data there, summation of x squared, summation of x, I'm having the number of values, n. I can scroll with this to see all the other values, summation of y squared, summation of y, summation of xy. So on my first parameter, I need to determine what? We need to determine summation of x, which in this case is 2. So I'm going to click 2. Then after I've clicked 2, what I need to do is to click what? Equal sign. So it will give me the values, total values of x is 2,900. Okay? Then in this case, I need summation of xy. How will you determine summation of xy? The same procedure, I do shift. Okay, I do sum. I need summation of xy, so I just scroll with this replay. I scroll it there. I'm having summation of xy, which is showing us number 3. So I'll just do number 3. Then equal sign. That is the data that I'm going to have for summation of xy. The same data probably I need summation probably of x squared. So how will you go about it? I do shift 1. Summation of x squared is number 1. So I'm going to click number 1. Then equal sign. That will give us summation of x squared. So you'll find that I'll use the same procedure to get all the data that I require as per our regression analysis. Recall the formula that you have it on the board. You see that formula that you have it on the board there? That's what you are having. We're having the values of x and the values of y on the board. I believe you can clearly see it, which we did it. Now, I need to determine the value of b. You see the formula of determining the value of b. So instead of you going through that formula that you have it on the board there, this will be very easy. What you need to do, just do shift. Then this time around, my good students, will go to number 2. After I've clicked number 2, I scroll. I need the value of b. The value of b is number 2, so I just click 2, then equal sign. Hula! I'm having the figure 2.19316. So that's a figure that I'm getting. A simple procedure that we're having, right? What about a? To determine the value of a, simply you do shift. Then I do what? I do 2 again. So I check where I'm having what? A. So I'm having a, which is 1, so I just click 1, then equal sign. Then I'm having the value of a like that, 140.9813. So using this simple procedure, you see that we've used not more than 8 minutes. We have determined the value of a, the value of b, and all our variables. So having determined that, what you need to do, you go to your paper. You have your equation, y is equal to a plus bx. So in this case, my y will be equal to 140.9813 plus b, which our b in this case, we saw our b to be what? Our b to be 2.193x. And that will give us our first equation. The examiner here told us to estimate the total cost function using the ordinary least square method. And you're given how many marks? 8 marks. So that is what you're supposed to do. So let's go back to our question here and we work it out. Okay, so basically you'll find that using your calculator, that's the easiest thing that you can always tend to do. But one thing that I want you guys to always remember is as much as you're using this shortcut, what you need to make sure is that you are indicating your figures on your paper, what you're doing. Like say for example, when we determine the value of summation of x, just come and put your summation of x, 2,900 there. We have determined summation of xy, whereby summation of xy, we had it to be a figure of what? A figure of 2,606,400. Then you're having summation of y, which in this case, summation of y, we had it to be 7770, right? Summation of x squared, in this case, we had a figure of 1,002,000, right? In this case, n, we can clearly see we had n to be what? N, we had 10, right? So you have displayed all your data there. Summation of x squared, you just do 2,900. That one you can do it manually. 2,900 squared, which will give us 8,410,000. Once you have displayed your data like that, the next thing that you're supposed to do, my good students, is for you to determine the value of A and B. So A and B, of course, you have already determined that, whereby we've seen that our A was how much? A was 140.98, and B, we had a figure of B to be 2.19, 2 decimal places we've used, right? So in this case, we'll find that you have determined your A and B. So our equation, very confidently, I'll come and say that my equation is equal to A, which is 140.98, plus B, which is 2.19, value of X. So basically, that was the first item that the examiner wanted us to do, or to determine. So using your calc, you'll find that you can do this thing very, very quickly. You can do that very, very quickly. So basically, once we have that in mind, the next thing that we are supposed to do, of course, is to look at the next question, which the examiner basically wanted us to determine what? Let us see what the examiner wanted us to determine. So the next question, the examiner wanted us to determine the total cost if 1050 machine hours were applied. That is simple, because we just substitute our x with 1050. So the total cost, which is y, I should be having 140.98 plus 2.19 times what? 1050. That is what we are given, right? If at all we used, that is if at all 1050 machine hours were applied. So what you are going to have here is to substitute this x with the 1050, so that as at the end of the day, my y will be how much? My y here, I should be having 2.19 times 1050 plus 140.98. So I'm getting 2440.48. And basically, that is what the examiner wanted us to do in that question. So I believe today you've learned a very simple shortcut. Using your calculator, you can work out regression analysis very easily and earn the total marks, so long as your presentation is presented in this manner. So that point, guys, thank you so much, and let us meet in the next session. I believe you've learned. And by the way, as I've mentioned that our classes have commenced, for you to join the classes, of course, you can always talk to us on the number below this video. To that point, guys, thank you so much. See you in the next class. Thank you.